Fix your hair. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show and tell, brought to you by the New England Book Artists. Today we've got three artists who are members at Shepherd and Maudsleigh printmaking group in Newton. And there's Rebekah Lord Gardiner, Gail, Hansen, and Ann Miller. They're all three going to talk about their work and Shepherd and Maudsleigh in the beginning and what's going on there. And so here we go. I'm going to start with Rebekah. Rebekah is a 1982 graduate of the Philadelphia Colleges of Arts, now known as the University of the Arts, with a BFA in printmaking. She also attended the North Bennett Street School, earning a certificate in bookbinding, and Brandeis University, completing a post-baccalaureate in fine arts. Rebekah's professional career includes being a master printer and production manager at the Fabric Workshop, bookbinding instructor and guest lecturer at North Bennett Street School and Rhode Island School of Design. Presently, she co-runs Shepherd and Maudsleigh Studio with Liz Shepherd, which is in West Newton. Her work is in private collections in the United States, the UK, and France, and she has exhibited in solo and juried shows throughout the Boston area. She uses early 20th century family photographs of her great-grandparents' property to investigate the ephemeral and the concrete. I'm so glad you're here, Rebekah.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. And I'm hoping that I can have a shared screen, please, because I have some images of the studio that I'd like to show first, and then just a couple of images from a book that I've done.
You should be able to do that.
Okay. Can anybody see?
Yeah, there it is.
Well, that's my computer. Can anybody see?
Not
Liz?
yet.
You have to go to the Zoom window to get the share. There's the green thing. Do it.
There we go.
Tech support, yay! Okay, so actually, let me just back up 1 second. So Shepherd and Maudsleigh Studio in West Newton. I joined forces with Liz Shepherd, who had her print studio in the South End for about 12 plus years. And then she no longer had her lease. And so I, out of the blue, said, would you like a partner? And she quickly said yes. And I realized, uh-oh, what have I just signed myself up for? We have been in West Newton, starting out in 6,000 square feet since 2018. And in 2024, we acquired another 5,000 square feet. So what we started out with was bringing over all of her presses from the South End. And this is a view of the main printmaking space. And what we have on the perimeter are private studios, which then surround the common spaces that people who don't have studio spaces at the studio, they can come and rent time. So it's an opportunity for people to come at, being able to use the space as well as having a personal studio space. This is Dorothea Van Camp, who has been a member here since we moved. So you can see a little more of what the studio spaces are like. What we have started with our expansion, one of our studio members, Ralph Robinson, has educated himself in a technique called photogravure using direct-to-plate printing. And so this was a workshop that he was teaching Liz, me, and Megan, our studio manager. I think, Alyssa, is that you in the picture too? So we're looking at one of the prints that I think Liz had done for the demonstration. And this was my piece, which was actually a picture of a relief block that I had done. And it's just amazing the depths of blacks and the brights, the whites that you can get. And this is without using aqua tints. So it's a real opportunity to expand, one's etching capacity. And that's Ralph showing an example. So one thing that we also do is have the opportunity to have workshops, and this is Julia Talcott talking to a group. And the space that she's in is what has now become our new dedicated classroom space only. Before, with the 6,000 square feet, we often had to overlap people using the same space as the members. And we realized that for everybody to have a good time and to expand their opportunities, it would be best if we could actually expand the space and get dedicated teaching spaces. And so this is what used to be personal studio spaces and is now our enlarged screen printing area. And that's Braden Baston, one of our shop techs and studio member. And so this is a class in the new dedicated teaching classroom. We now have 2 presses. Ann Miller very kindly brought her press over. And Suzanne Maudsleigh, also a studio member, has the Takich in the corner there. Another view of the new expanded space. Dedicated screen printing area. And we also have access to an 11-foot fabric printing table, not only for fabric, you could do yardage, but also for large prints as well. And then the opportunity with the new space, we now have about 1,200 to 1,500 square feet in this 11,000 square feet that is dedicated to the book arts. And with the generosity of people like Stephanie Stigliano, Emily Myro, and a number of other individuals in the book field, we've been able to acquire equipment, which has definitely helped us equip the space, which we're very grateful for. So, and one of the things that for me was killer is the end of day light that these new windows provide for us. And there's Stephanie's press. Thank you, Stephanie. And we also have access to 2 guillotines that are under being cleaned. And we have open work tables. This is Stephanie collaborating with Gail, Sandy, and Sharon Hayes. And in the background, to the left of Gail, you can see another large work table that's available for people to come and rent time and have access to large broad tables. More of Gail's class. Gail taught a, what type of book would you call that?
Refillable notebook.
A refillable notebook class, which was the inaugural workshop. We're going to be having instructors from the North Bennett Street School teaching classes that build on each other, as well as incorporating classes that printmakers who don't necessarily have familiarity with how they can present their prints in books. So collaborations with print instructors and book instructors, and really broadening the book arts here at Shepherd and Maudsleigh. In the background, you can see more personal studio spaces and a little peek at a press that is our electric press. It's a Griffin brand. The space also in late spring, we're going to be hoping to accommodate some paper making. We're still fleshing that out, but we're also working with Susan Murray, a cyanotype artist. So the back left corner of this image is where we will be doing a lot of our wet work. And then I wanted to move into a book that I've done. This is a book where the cover is integrated in with the text block. So it is a cardstock folio that is sewn link stitch. And then the spine is a screen printed silk book cloth. And the paper cover is also screen printed with graphite and gouache hand drawing added later. And so what I did is I worked with one of our shop techs, Andrew Palladino, and he printed the blue plate that is my dry point. And then I collaged and did some screen printing and handwork into the images after sewing it together. This work is based on, as mentioned in my artist statement, I work from some family photos and some family history. And my mother's family came from the Newburyport area, excuse me. So some of the imagery is based on the mouth of the Merrimack River because the house that my great-grandparents built was right there on the Merrimack. And so some of the family history involves shipping and trades in India and China. So I was thinking about the colors of the different items that were imported. So the gunny sack is that muted brownish yellow. The red comes from the lac bug, LAC. And the blue, it represents the indigo that was brought in from India. And I think that's it for me. So I'm happy to take questions, but at the same time, I don't know if the format is to have questions at the end. I'll just take it however you want to.
Yeah,
present it.
no, if there are any questions for Rebekah, please speak up. I can't see all of you, but make sure if you have a question, you unmute yourself. I just wanted to say I took a little workshop on paper mache with Liz Shepherd at the studio, and it was so big then that I found myself feeling lost when I had to leave the area. And that now that this extra space that you've gotten is amazing.
Thank you.
And oh my gosh, second to none print studio you've got now.
Thank you. Well, we've actually created maps for everybody.
Oh,
So,
beautiful.
yeah, even our studio members are like, wait, how do I get where? So yeah, no, it's definitely a little bit of a problem. And occasionally Liz and I run in circles thinking we found, we're trying to find the other, and it does get a little humorous at times.
I know.
Yeah, you would need some walkie-talkies.
Are
Yeah.
you open to people stopping by and taking a look around?
We are, but it's best actually if you set up an appointment in advance.
Okay, great. I'll do that. I'd like to.
That would be great. Thank you. So I guess I can stop share.
So are there any questions from the group? Anyone want to say anything about what you saw? The beautiful book, really interesting imagery.
Now, what is the scale of the book?
Oh, I was afraid you're going to ask that. I think it's about 11 inches by 10.5 inches.
Okay, so it's large. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. When I heard the description of family, photographs and ideas of family, and then I looked at it, I enjoyed it not being as literal as that, the way it was described. And I do feel that there's some kind of narrative, and it's definitely about place, and it feels comfortable and like home. And I love all the textures and the movement within the pages. Lovely piece.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let's move on to Gail Hansen then. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Gail is a Newton and Wellesley-based printmaker and bookmaker. She studied various printmaking techniques at Bonnie Mineo Studio in Boston, ZMA's Printing in Northampton, and Shepherd and Maudsleigh in Newton, and bookmaking at Mass Art, Hajosi Arts, Passionato Books in Northampton, with Daniel Kelm in East Hampton, and Chenna River Marblers in Amherst. Since 2011, she's been participating in exhibits at local art associations and galleries, winning numerous awards. She learned to make books when looking for a quiet activity to work on at home. She found that making books was a great way to use her prints and handmade marble paper and keeps her in touch with her bookmaking friends. Most of her books have a theme, often a poem, or a fixation on shoes or chickens or hamsters or bees or wallets. Take it away, Gail. Loving your work always.
Thank you. And I do have some slides or some pictures that
Oh, so you need to share
that
again.
Christina was going to put together for me.
So she,
I am in the middle of organizing that. Let me just talk for a minute and I'll let you know when we're all set.
I mean, yeah, sure. I could talk to a fence post. And so certainly I can just like make stuff up, but I have three things going on. You know, I like to make prints. I tend to get a little silly with what I make, especially when I do silk screens, which is my favorite thing because you can just make so many silk screens. And so then I like stick them all together and I make books and I marble paper. And because I learned how to marble paper, then I had to learn how to make books so I could use the marble paper. So most of my, I don't have too much here because a giant tree fell on my house. And so most of the work, you know, most of my work has become inaccessible. But so I do have a few things here. So I like to do woodcuts too, because they're sort of fun. So I have this book where
A
it's
little
all,
higher. Hold your hands up. There you go, right
There
there.
we go.
all these books, all these backgrounds have been done with a woodcut. And then I silk screened all of these wallets in 2 or 3 colors and then just sort of put them together. So that's kind of how I work.
Can we see
we
the
see the
cover on
cover?
that?
The cover
Oops,
on
sorry.
it is very simple. It's the front
Oh.
cover and
Beautiful.
back cover.
They're avocados.
Yeah, well, I thought they were eggs and then they became avocados.
Eggs, avocados.
I don't have you know, all my chicken stuff is on the slides, but
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I'm ready after you show these. Yeah.
so what I do here is I do the marble paper, and then if I don't like the marble paper, I will then paste paper over it. And then if I don't like that, then I'll start cutting them up and making accordion books. So accordion books is the most fantastic structure for loose items that didn't work somewhere else. So that's my favorite thing to do. And then I do like, you know, kind of like traditional book binding where I use marble paper and I make various kinds of books. This is a Coptic stitch book that my friend Laurel taught me how to make.
And those are blank books, correct?
These are blank. Is another one with all this fancy marble paper. The very first paper marbling I ever did was with Christina. And I liked it so much that Laurel and I started going to the Shenna River marblers out in Amherst and just going completely crazy. And then
You also did a lot of paste with me.
yeah, I did. I think my very first paste was with you, and some of my very first bookmaking was with you. And so I make a lot of books that are sort of for sale because I do Newton Open Studios, and so the more of the marble paper gets put into these simple books. This is one of those refillable notebooks that I taught the class with, and that was fun. and I'll teach I'll teach more classes. But
Show us more, pull the little thing out and let us really see the mechanism here.
yeah, the mechanism is very simple. It's the outside is completely book cloth, and it's pretty sturdy. And I've got book board in there, and then I make a little slot
Okay.
with these notebooks that I get at Staples.
Okay, that's very smart design.
They go in and out. Well, I learned this design from Laurel, taught me how to do this.
Well, dang,
Everybody,
awesome.
everybody teaches me how to do things. So I don't have many other books here, mostly because they're well, none of them got ruined, but a lot of my stuff is inaccessible right now because the tree fell in my house.
What a relief that it didn't get ruined and that you lived.
Oh yeah, the living part was good too. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty close,
I know.
It was pretty close. So if we could show the little slideshow, that would be good. I obsess about certain animals, and so I was on a real serious chicken kick, and so I made these like 3 and 4 layer colored chickens, and some of them were pretty neon, and I cut so many of them out and I pasted them in books, and I made chicken books, and I made chicken water skiing pictures and synchronized swimming chickens, and I just went kind of crazy with it. But
Love this foot coming in.
chickens are good, so that's my chicken phase. And what else have we got here? Yeah, that's a big marbling thing that I did with the Shenna River marbles. That's leather, and so you can well, as Christina can tell you, you can marble anything you can hold down. So that's that.
This is lovely.
Yeah, that's that's part of like learning how to make books, and so that's what do you call that?
Is that the secret Belgian?
That's the secret Belgian binding. And then the marble paper. I just love marble paper. I just do. And then you can get pretty fancy with some of these books. Even I learned how to make this like fancy cross stitching, and so that was fun. Yeah.
Dozekis.
Yeah, is that what it's called? Yeah.
When I teach it, that's what I call it.
Oh, what do you call it? What is it again?
Dozekis.
Oh.
Like the beer.
Like the beer.
Oh, I just don't know anything about beer. But
yeah, you're crossing tracks in between your three signatures, right? So you have multiple needles and you go in and out of the different signatures, and it jumps, your stitching jumps tracks and comes back, and it all works itself out if you did it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
And these are some more of my the books that those are
the over printing. Yeah.
The refillable notebooks, those were marbled papers that were papered over.
So I guess you never have a waste print that you consider to not be worthy. You just do something more to it till it gets to where it goes.
No, I have more bad prints than most human beings.
I doubt that.
So we can move on. Yeah, and there's just more. That's one of my fancy French link stitch books with the marble paper. And
yeah, and I think that's all.
Well, I sent you some like this morning because the thing that I really want you to show is my new mask that I had.
Okay, hang on. This might not be pretty. Let's see. Is that?
No, it's a mask. The picture I sent you.
Oh, here it is. It's tiny. That's why I didn't do it, because it was so small.
See if you can like get it on the screen, because this is who I am.
See how small the file is?
Oh, I see.
Why is that so small?
You must
Can
not
you
have
pull it bigger?
attached it. You must not have attached it properly. It's not going to be good if we make it bigger.
But
Do you not
anyway,
have your mask with you?
no, because it's like Liz Shepherd made it because it's going to be part of an installation. And
It's wonderful.
but I made my Facebook page and my Instagram. I changed the picture to that.
Well, fantastic.
Are you holding it up in front of your face, or does it clip
It's
on your ears, or?
It's on a stick.
Ah,
And so
Okay.
it's sort of like going to Venice, and you can like go around and nobody will know where you're there, a fancy masked ball.
mm-hmm,
Truman Capote had one in 65.
yes. The black and white balls.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a lovely little piece.
Yeah. So anyway, what's nice about this studio, of course, is the collaboration here. And it can't be beat. So
Thank you.
12 o'clock is lunch though.
That's right.
Okay.
Thanks, Gail. Any questions for Gail?
I was very excited to see that you were teaching.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, they're not going to let me teach advanced bookmaking, but they'll let me teach beginning bookmaking.
You can teach advanced a lot of things.
Well, I'll do chicken drawings.
Advanced chicken
I
image.
love your Valentine's chicken that I got last year in the Posted with Love.
Oh, good.
Fantastic.
Thank you. And I'm going to give you Annie Miller.
Ann Miller. Thanks for being part of the show. Ann is a Waltham-based mixed media artist and printmaker.
Not anymore.
During a 30-year career as a technical writer, she always worked to maintain practice in hands-on expressive media, including handmade papermaking, bookmaking, and various fiber arts. She began making collages around 2005, studying with Alexandra Sheldon. More recently, she began exploring monoprinting, fascinated by the spontaneity and variety of approaches offered by this versatile medium. Now retired from technical writing and having recently acquired a vintage American French tool etching press, Anne practices printmaking and collage arts from her studio. Hi, Anne.
Hi, thank you for including me today. I'm actually a brand new member of Shepherd and Maudsleigh now, and my studio has relocated from Waltham to here. So that is a very
Congratulations.
good move for me. So what I thought I would talk about is how, well, first of all, I started making books about 30 years ago, and what I really loved about it was learning the different forms and structures, and also playing with all kinds of paper. And I made many, many, many blank journals that were quite lovely. And so that's what I did for quite a while. And then collage and printmaking and drawing and other things kind of came in, and I took a pause from bookmaking, except during the summer, I found that I really liked working outdoors. And so I would take my little kit of sketchbooks and bag of Sharpies and crayons and stuff and just go someplace nice and draw. And so that evolved into, let's see if I can get a little bit close. Things like this they're just kind of cartoony drawings. And I learned two things from that. One was that I loved seeing through to the next part of the story and also back to the previous part. And the other thing was Sharpies bleed through paper. So here's this cartoony character hanging on. And then on the other side, they're hanging on to this other cartoony character. And this, I just did different ways of playing with the paper. So these eyelashes are folded up. So you can sort of see the
Hold it up
images.
a little bit higher. There we go.
So you can see the images kind of transferring from one side to the next. So this, kind of bicycle rider character on this side becomes a giraffe
Or a kite flyer.
or something, yeah. And then this person becomes a fish. So, what that taught me was, well, for one thing, I really like to draw, and I like the spontaneity of working with the drawing as it emerges. And so I was working away at these other media until 2020 happened. And I got really scared and I didn't want to go anyplace. So I set up a studio in my living room, and it was very well suited to the scale and sort of low mess factor of making books. So I started applying collaging. So this is just an accordion book with all collaged images. And in fact, these images happen to be drawings from one of my little sketchbooks from working outdoors. And then I was working mostly in the accordion format, and my way of working was to, get a nice piece of paper and draw something on it and then make the accordion. So the drawing determined the content before the book was made. So I did a whole bunch of those, and I thought, okay, well, where can I take this? So this is one of the places.
Ooh.
I just started cutting into it, mostly from the side, although there's some cuts from top and bottom, and then just folding the pieces back from the original cut. And so it, maybe I can.
You want me to hold a part of it?
Can you hold it up so it's like a top-down view? So, yeah, it becomes this pretty structural form that winds across the table. And I called it accordion running amok. And the thing that I kind of like about it is the drawing is very graphical, and the cuts interrupt that, and they're just sort of in tension with each other. And I like that kind of nutty energy about that. So in keeping with the plan of cutting into my work to make it more dimensional, I thought, well, what if my drawing was made from just the shadow and light of parts of the book projecting onto other parts. So this structure, is not really meant to be a pull-down accordion. It's really more of an architectural piece. It's sort of heading towards sculpture.
Sure is.
And here's another example. In this one, I was back to drawing with Sharpies. And the form of the drawing determined where I made the cutouts. So you can see the Sharpies gave me a whole other set of imagery on the back. And the other thing I did with this one is I made a little slot on the corner so it could really become I think of it as kind of a stage set for a Shakespearean play with a balcony. Because they've all got balconies.
Exquisite. It's like a maquette.
Yes, yeah. There's a very strong temptation to think of them as really big.
Sure is.
So the thing about cutting into it, cutting into the book became more and more radical as I went along. So with this one, my object was to see how much I could cut away and still have it stand on its own. And so I was using a paper punch and, of course, scissors for cutting. And I also drew back into it to emphasize the edges after it was cut. And this one can just sort of stand any way you want. And it was actually in an exhibit hung from the ceiling as like a party decoration.
It's getting Calder-esque.
Yes. Okay, so all right, so here we go. Speaking of Calder-esque, this one is a drawing, and the object here was to see how what a tiny footprint it could stand in. So you can see there's not a lot holding it up, and if I balance it just right. Oh, also the other thing about this was, up to now everything I've shown you has had a vertical orientation on the folds, but I started really getting interested in what happens if I mess that up and let it get kind of wonky, like how is it going to balance and how do I get it to stand it on its own. So this one, if I'm really lucky, slippery. I might be able to get it to balance. Well, you know what? I'm not going to take time to do that. But the idea is, it really, when it's up, it's sort of leaning quite a bit on one side, and it's touching the surface with really only about 3 points.
Mm.
So this is another one I sort of had. It feels like a maquette, like what if this was in a monumental scale? Wouldn't that be cool?
Very cool.
All right, so another thing I started doing, I've been doing a big cleanup in my house, getting rid of old art, and so that meant putting frame corner protectors, those cardboard folding things.
Yep.
And so they come in sheets that are die cut, so you have the shape of the corner, and then you have a piece left over. So I started using those pieces to make things. And there's things about the materials that really influence what the book became. So this cardboard, I decided not to make it prettied up. I've just put it together with tape. And I've used that cutout piece, the half circle, to make the marks, really. And there are a couple of things that were interesting about that to me. One is it's figurative, and it reminds me that it takes very little to suggest a figure, just a few minimal marks. The other thing is, there's my looking through. And so it looks like it could be, some kind of tool or comb or
You could use it for a paste paper tool.
that's right, paste paper.
There you go.
You probably could actually, yeah.
Is that cardboard tan on one side and white on the other naturally, or did you just paint one side of them?
It came that way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there's just a layer of paper on one side of the cardboard. I don't know why they did that, but I guess because they want the paper corners to look nice when they're on the frame.
Neat book.
Okay, I have another cardboard one I can show you.
When you're cleaning up your studio and you get more cardboard, it's hard to think you're cleaning up your studio. It becomes this never-ending cycle of getting more to get rid of.
My new colleagues are supporting that because they keep, I can't, when I moved in, there was a package of cardboard scraps waiting for me. So I'm starting to work with those. Meanwhile, this is another frame corner piece. And I really like this. It's drawn, there's sort of two sets of drawings.
It's gorgeous.
On the white side and then on the colored side. And when you view it, when you have it viewed on a flat place, you can see both. You can see both the white and the color together. And that was something that I was continued to be very interested in. What happens when you look through to the next place? And it sort of returns it to the sequential characteristics of a book. Okay, so that is how my art journey sort of went from bookmaking to sculpture making. And I have one more piece to show you that I'm working on here at the studio. And this is cardboard gifted to me by my studio colleagues, and some fishnet stockings, and some frame corner cardboard. And the white bag is like it's a clam bag. It's what you carry around. You dump your clams in to, send them off to market. And these two little dark places, those are clementines that have dried up.
The peels or the whole clementine?
The whole thing. I had actually made a piece with the clementines and a fishnet stocking, and I just let it sit until it dried up over a period of about 2 years. So this is a piece that is starting to happen, and I think I'm finding it very fun. So,
Oh, those fishnet stockings are gorgeous.
they're very
They
exciting.
look like marbled paper.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do. They have a little bit of a marble look to them. Interesting.
I want to know who wore those fishnet stockings.
I couldn't tell you. When I got them off Amazon, and they came sort of cut away, so that it sort of had the panty part, and then it had garters that like built into the stockings. Just cut.
It was, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Definitely a better use for them.
They found a better place to live.
so that is, the journey continues to find ways to combine all of these different media and formats.
Super.
I've never seen before.
And neither has anybody else.
Have you found a way to use your Gyotaku fish printing yet? I took my Gyotaku fish printing workshop.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Well, my favorite work t-shirt has a fish on it.
Ah.
From that class.
That's right.
Yeah, and what I did with my fish is I cut them into, I cut them out. I cut them out so I have like a complete fish. And then I dipped them in wax. And then I use them for backdrops when I do a show like Newton Open Studios or something like that. I've got, because I don't want to carry framed work all over the place. So I just stick up like those fish. And I did the same thing to some wallets. And so I have fish and wallet backgrounds.
Wow, I love it. Well, thank you, Anne and Gail and Rebekah, for showing us not only your work, but the studio that is just startlingly magnificent. What it's really something special what you've built there.
Thank you.
How many members do you have?
I'd say we're 25 plus, maybe. Yeah,
Megan was saying 30 the other day.
okay, about 30.
About 30. Do you look for new members? Do you recruit new members?
We do. I was gonna put into the chat the website so that if people wanted to get on our mailing list, which announces workshops. So the book arts, yes, we're looking for people who want to spend time at the studio, become a member, whether they want to do printmaking and book arts or whether they just want to do book arts. We would love to have more people join.
And we're really increasing the number of classes that we're offering.
That's terrific. You're a model. You're a model for bringing various and sundry things into the Boston art market. It's not an easy thing to do, to have these common spaces that allow people to express their own art individually, yet maintain that group. Well done.
Thank you. We're trying, and it's not always, sometimes it's a little hit or miss, but we would love to know what people want to have come here. So we're as open to what people might want to take as a class, as well as to just say, hey, this is what we're offering. Are you interested?
Nice.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you, ladies.
Well, thanks for having us.
Really glad to have you. Thank you. Are there any questions for these groundbreaking women who are making a mark in the Boston art scene for us all? I'm looking at the chat and it's all applause.
Thank you.
Words like gorgeous and fantastic and inspiring and
Elegant.
love to see. So thank you all. Keep on making your art, because each one of you so very different and so very exciting. All of your work, each one of you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's really great here.
I know you love it, Gail. And now that you don't have a house, you've got a place to go
Exactly.
all day long.
Yep.
Thank you, art
Right.
makers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for coming today on this Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
And we'll see you at the next show and tell, I hope.
You betcha.
We have a Cape Bound closing reception at the Higgins Gallery at Cape Cod Community College. It's Thursday, March 21st, 3 to 5. Artists are allowed to take home their art directly from there if you are in attendance. Otherwise, we'll be shipping about a week or so after. And we have 2 field trips coming up. I talked about those earlier, and another show and tell coming at you in April. Little sneak preview. I have been talking with Emily Martin about coming to do a special presentation for us. She's a pretty famous pop-up and artist bookmaker. So we'll see. And thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.